Come moja. Hope to see you soon.
Everywhere, GBS.
Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us on the Insight tonight. Of course, we are here to talk matters politics. Well, the handshake between President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM's Raila Amolo Odinga was conceived in 2018 to solve the political divide that was created after the 2017 campaigns and elections. Yet the truth 4 years later has got people speaking, asking questions. Has it really achieved that which the president and the former premier wanted to achieve? Was there an ulterior motive of the handshake going forward? Of course, we have such questions that we want to answer on the Insight tonight. But of course, this will not only be the topic that we're going to discuss here on the Insight tonight, but we're also part of the conversation is also going to be formed by the coalitions that are shaping the 2022 succession politics. Also, that will also be part of this conversation. We also get to look at the IBC's new appointment, and of course, I have guests with me who, through their eyes, we will get to see what indeed to get to discuss these issues here. I will start with my far right, Mr. Dennis Maguta. Mr. Dennis Maguta is a governance expert, and of course, Mr. Dennis Maguta is joining us on the Insight tonight. We will get to speak to him. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. We also have, right next to him, we have Mr. Walter Simba Marara. Mr. Walter Simba is a politics and economy analyst, and of course is joining us in the house as we delve into this politics of coalitions and of course the handshake anniversary as well. We have also Mr. George Ndawa. Mr. George Ndawa is an active citizen, and of course is also joining us on the Insight for another time. Mr. George Ndawa, welcome so much to the show. You have been away for quite a while. You should tell us where you have been, maybe what you have come, what was there where you were.
Yeah, we will talk about that also.
Okay.
But I really appreciate the opportunity to converse again matters pertaining to our country.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, welcome back, Mr. John Zawa. They are an active citizen, and of course, ladies and gentlemen, you can also join in the conversation and discussion 21144. That is our SMS line. Also, you can continue the conversation at our Twitter handles and of course other social media platforms. That is at GBS TV Africa, at Eugene Ochieng Kwach. And of course, this conversation begins tonight. Let me start with you, Mr. Maguta. There was actually, today, Raila was in Kisumu. I don't know whether you've watched that, or maybe you have a glimpse of what was happening, according to you. What was happening?
No, okay, I haven't got enough time to watch because I was busy throughout the day.
Okay.
But let me say, Raila Amolo Odinga being in Kisumu is in the right place. I don't have much to say that, but he's in the right place.
Okay.
You know that his home, his paternal home, where he grew, and there are ethnic purposes.
Okay, so what has been actually your highlights of the week, if you begin from there?
Okay, as so far, the politics in the ground is becoming hot.
Okay.
And we were expecting that Raila could not be now in Kisumu, could have been somewhere along the DCI offices explaining why he had to utter such words. But anyway, it's okay. We don't know what's going on, but we believe no citizen is above the law, and neither is below the law. We should all face the law equally. And as for the deputy president, he's been outside the country. He's back. I've seen what he has gone to do in Bungoma, in the western parts of this Kenya. And I want to say we are expecting more to come, especially this weekend. It's going to be hot fire. Yes.
It's Maguta fire.
Maguta fire. Yes.
You know yourself in your campaigns, of course, I bet that you are also vying.
Yes.
Mr. Simba Mwenyewe, let me get to ask you, what has been your highlight of the week generally?
Thank you so much for the invitation. The way my colleague has already quoted, we are expecting a lot of fire this week. And coming back of the deputy president is one of the major political scenarios that we have at the moment right now. You can see there are a lot of strategies that all the political parties are putting in place. We have NDCs tomorrow. We have Raila being launched officially as the Azimio flag bearer. So that is a very, very major political campaign strategy. And you can see hand in hand running the parallel program that will be running parallel to this launch. We have now the UDA presidential aspirants going for the interviews. So you can see all these parties are putting, the major political parties in the country currently are putting their houses in order, and launches are going to be done. So we are expecting more firestorms. We are expecting much more this week, a lot of campaigns. Things have now been stirred up with the political temperatures rising in the country each and every day. Maybe to add on that, we've had a lot of comparisons regarding the deputy president outcry while in the United States of America, with a lot of contradictions in context of the complaints he has had regarding the elections being rigged. We've also had counterattacks from the other parties regarding the same, telling him to come back to the ground and make the complaints to the right parties and the right institutions, that America cannot solve our problems. That is what we heard from the latest political analysts. And then we've had Raila Amolo Odinga today apologizing regarding this remark, since the temperatures in the country cannot easily allow the defamatory remarks, and that is a very good step that he has taken as a leader of the country, and I'm sure he has already been summoned by the EAC and is going to appear tomorrow to make that, so that we don't have what is called double standard when it comes to politicians.
Mr. Ajit, the active citizen man. Welcome back to the show, and of course you are coming at the time in which the politics are quite heightened.
Man, I've seen the highest heat, and I'm expecting more, because I know it's now about to begin. All those that have been happening were not at the right time. But then the week have been with several things. One of them, which I know has been a time bomb, which has been just in waiting, is the motorcycle craziness, which we have seen. They are now trying to show exactly who they really are. And this is the time now people are crying out on what, but we see them every day on the streets with us when you go on the roads. And then with politics, I see the DP's trip to the UK and US, and there are quite a number of things that we can talk about there, but those are the highlights that I can talk about.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. We are in the 4th year. This week, actually, Kenyans, we can say that, should I use the word celebrated, but anyway, it happened. The 4th year since Handshake took place. Mr. Dennis Maguta,
yes.
How has the journey been according to you? You look at Handshake and you say this and this and this and this. Or what has happened during the time of the Handshake?
Yes, it's been 4 years since Handshake officially took place between the Right Honorable Amolo Odinga and Uhuru, the President of Kenya. I want to say that the Handshake came with a lot. Kenyans were expecting major changes from Handshake, and maybe others were expecting positive and other negative. But I want to say, according to me, we really found it astonishing that we had to go the wrong direction with the handshake. If we have to do some comparison, we can just talk about the entire economical state of the country between now and before handshake. And I want to say, anyway, peace is good. There is
do you mean that the economy right now
is
the
even
economy
worse.
during before the handshake was quite...
Exactly, that is what I mean. Exactly, that is what I mean. What did you want to say? What did you want to say? What did you want to say? Exactly, that's what I mean. Economy now is much worse than the time before the handshake process took place. But I want to say this. Listen, Kwach.
Okay.
I want to say this. Peace is good. Peace is good. If you have to do some argument with somebody to get peace, it's okay. And that is where the only positive thing comes with handshake, because the character, one of the characters in the handshake deal proved that he is hard to work with. He cannot give peace. He cannot give ample time for the government to move on. So the handshake came in, and there now handshake came in the positive way. Unfortunately, this handshake came to disturb the economy and the health sector of the country. We found that there was rise in the negativity part of the activities of the country after the handshake. But I want to say anyway, thank you. We are here today. Let's forget about the handshake. Now we are heading towards 2022. But I want to say, since we are, because we are talking about the handshake, that maybe we could have been better.
so actually, you look at the handshake.
Yes.
Can you look at the journey that
Yes.
we have had during these 4 years?
Yes.
Is there anything actually to celebrate, or do you think that the negative things have outdone the positive
Yes,
one?
they have outdone the positive one, because I've just told you, Kwach, we've only had peace for the government to run.
Okay.
But you see, we came up with many shenanigans, just like BBI, that was not right for the country. The country was not ripe for constitutional changes. You've seen a lot of, you've seen the absurd rise of corruption during the handshake time. But for me, I want to say that this handshake period, it has been a long period of turmoil and pain for Kenyans and suffering.
I get your point quite clearly, gentlemen.
Yes.
Now let me ask you, Mr. Simba. Well, you've also been in Kenya. Of course, you've witnessed the handshake. You were there when the handshake happened. It is now 4 years, and the 4th anniversary. Is there anything to celebrate about the handshake, sir?
I would like to answer that question in two-way traffic. The handshake has impacted the country positively, but partly I'll agree it has impacted the country negatively on the political arenas. The moment there was a handshake between His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Amolo Odinga, we knew there were parties that were already affected. We've never understood, because the principle, I'll call the other party Principle Z. We could see these other two principles who did the handshake. They came with a unity of purpose. And the president made it very clear that I've decided to do a handshake with my colleague. Not because we are going to do sharing of positions. We are not having any kind of self-interest in this handshake. His interest was to unify the country so that it could bring all the, ethnically speaking, everyone under one table. But now we could see there was an uproar from the other side of the door. The uproar was that others had felt that this party coming in, we are going to be this, we are not going to be on the same table. Of which he never explained how the handshake had affected him, so that he could not be having the same thoughts with the other leaders on the same table. So Principle Z sold out this notion of the handshake negatively to other civilians or to Kenyans.
Who is this Principle Z, sir?
Principle Z. We all know who Principle Z is. I said I would not like to mention his name necessarily, but he has been quoted over and over by the president that while he was speaking in his local language at Ruiru, that you can see have, in quotes, have decided to do handshake with this our colleague to avoid this kind of repetition wherever we are having elections, to avoid this kind of amalgamation of other tribes and other conflicts, to avoid conflict so that the country can grow. We would not love to see a country where we only speak politics. Let us this time speak about the economy. And that is where I'm coming to disagree with my colleague here. When he says that the economy has been affected since the handshake negatively. According to the reports that we have, the statistics in 2012, no, 2022, the latest report that we have from the central government, the inflation rate has reduced dramatically. The Kenyan shilling has grown strong, unlike when we were in the era when the handshake was still not there. When there are a lot of political temperatures, there are a lot of knockouts. You know, politics is an arena. So Principal Z had felt that no, I can take an advantage of this kind of conflict or this kind of an invitation of someone who is not in this forum. And that is why you can see in America he called him. He called the president to be a refugee. To be a refugee in the camp of the opposition. You can see the cynicism in that. He called the president to be a refugee in the camp of the opposition, while we can see the refugee in the government.
Thank you so much. Actually, my directors tell me that we have to need to go for a very short break, Mr. Ngawa. It's not an injustice. We are coming back right in the to continue discussing this. Of course, gentlemen, stay put. Ladies, of course, who are watching us, stay put as we delve deeply into these matters. Of course, we are coming back in a short while.
And you can call me the True Ninja. I'd like to invite you on an amazing show that will be happening each and every Saturday from 8 p.m. to 8:30. The repeat on Sunday, each and every Sunday from 1 p.m. So make sure you join us for the GBS Art Club for an amazing show. Because
and I'm Rachel Gambo, the boss.
We will be bringing to you You Have 254,
The show that gets your groove on.
Amwezikuwa na trend kama mjataja elfu moja.
Oh! Nikata sikadumbi.
Lazima fit in, you like, you belong in.
I believe that fitting in should be declared a national pandemic.
Yaani mnawashwa.
No, actually, sahi bado. You're the one who started it.
So nikisema nakupenda niamini, na nikisema sitaenda believe.
Welcome back to the Insight. Of course, we are still delving into matters politics, and here we are looking at the handshake anniversary. We're still talking matters about the handshake, and of course, later on we are going to look at the coalitions which are shaping up the 2022 succession politics. Apart from that, of course, we look at the IEBC's new appointments. But of course, we are getting right into the topic, and of course, let me ask you this, Mr. Ntawa. You have heard what the two guys, the two gentlemen have spoken about, but again, according to the reports by Daily Standard news of Wednesday, March 9th, 2022, the fruits of the handshake column, they say that corruption has actually purged much higher. What do you make of this as actually the handshake being a double-edged sword, according to you, where you sit as an active citizen?
Well, I would say something about Kenyan politics as we progress to that. That Kenyan politics has been faced with two dynamic forces. One is evil and one is good. So evil has kept fighting good like crazy. You see, whenever we make a progress to have a change in the country, there are people who don't want to lose the positions that they had strategized themselves to be in. And so you find that when a progress is made, they kind of pull other people down. When Handshake came in, that was the best thing that Kenya needed at that moment. But you see, there are people who had already counted, they have kumi yako kumi yangu. So that was changing the terrain for them. So they kind of felt very angry, and even though the president did not say, nobody can even say, give us a word that president did to chase Ruto out of his party. The guy ran away by himself. He ran away by himself because he saw that the position that he was gearing himself in is threatened. And so after running away, he created so many propagandas that I've even wondered why people believe in this guy's words. Because that he's pulling us back to where we have left. He wants us to go to an election and fight. And that is why you see, he has words that when he speaks, look at how they address crowds anywhere they go. They speak in some anger that they leave that place, people just are charged, they just want to fight. So such a person should not be given a chance to become even a deputy again in this country, because such anger will just create some animosities that will divide this country to the terrains, and that is not what we are looking for. The economy they are talking about, I don't know who would be the best person to talk about economy. Ruto cannot. Anybody supporting Ruto cannot. And they cannot talk to us about corruption. Because, I mean, who is not in Kenya? Who doesn't know them all? So
I've just asked you about corruption, to be specific. And according to this report, it seems that the corruption since the handshake has purged.
No, that is propaganda. They always mention only one thing that happened during the COVID time. Let's talk about corruption since 2013. I mean, who doesn't know? So I don't want to get into details because I know time is also limited. But let them not talk about it, because they don't wear the white shirts, the white clothes that qualifies them to do that. They are the chief of corruptions. If they were not there, we wouldn't have known corruption exists.
Maybe I believe you can have this video of the deputy president at Chatham House speaking, and of course maybe he's speaking about the handshake. So let us get to hear what he has to say.
Around those calls. When we went and we were told that we were having the handshake and it was about the unity of the country, it never turned out that it was a conspiracy. It was genuine. You know, what happened? There was no unity. There was no building bridge. There was nothing. What happened? The handshake destroyed Jubilee, the ruling party. The handshake destroyed NASA, the opposition coalition. The handshake destroyed our Big Four plan. We couldn't implement it. The handshake destroyed government as we knew it. There was no government, there was no opposition. we ended up in a conundrum that nobody knew who was in the opposition.
And actually, there's a word actually that he used there during that that him talking. He said Kenya was put into a political conundrum, and of course he has just said and mentioned that there was no longer opposition, and we never had a government. Let me ask you this question.
Yes.
Do you think that the current politics of Kenya has vindicated the Ruto's camp, who are always against the handshake since?
Okay, I want to say this. That is an answer to be answered by the activities that have been going on since handshake up to now. But I'll start by giving you examples. You say, as Deputy President of Kenya, the President went to a step of allocating his activities, responsibilities to CS. That is Fred Matiang'i. So you see, this was like a trap. This was like a trap to gain some mileage or some, I don't know how I can put it, but I'd like to tell you this. As he has said, when handshake came in, we lost the opposition. We even lost the specific position of certain leaders in the country. For example, the deputy president. And I want to say, on the same note, I want to answer our friend there that running away, Ruto didn't run away. When you are chased, you just know, you are just shown by action. And when you are chased, you look for a better place to be. And he knew that to be safe, he'd rather leave the commotion for the country to move in. You can imagine if Ruto, Raila and Uhuru had to fight for responsibilities in the same government, what could have happened?
Sir, let me get what your view is. Actually, he says that the handshake has destroyed the Jubilee ruling party, the government destroyed the NASA, the opposition party, no government, no position. What do you make of this, sir?
Just to note on that,
yes,
maybe to correct my friend. First, you can see the bitterness, the frustration in the deputy president's speech. There is this issue that we discussed here last time. I told about the Pandora box, the hidden secret box, where parties do come together when they have secret parts. Deputy President's frustrations are equally allowed. It is very right humanly to be frustrated and to be knocked out where you are expecting to have equal benefits. Because wherever a pact or a coalition is done, we have a 50-50 agreements. So the Deputy President is just exposing his frustrations, but on the wrong platforms. He's trying to say this, that the handshake has destroyed a lot in the government. Economy, uniting the nation, and those are the purposes of the handshake. The president has made it very clear. The purpose of the handshake was to unite Kenyans. We never saw where the president went wrong about that. We've seen the current developments that has happened in the country after the handshake. We've seen the peace that has been in the country after the handshake. The president chased him, the deputy president chased himself away from the house, since he could see that no, things have been aligned here. Institutions are being aligned. There's no loophole where I can benefit from. So he felt that he has been outshined in his own house, and that is why he left. He could no longer enter the bedroom. Just to highlight on that, if I were the deputy president, such like allegations, he ought to have made them in the country and not in America. First and foremost is trying to portray that we don't have institutions that can align such like allegations, and that is not in the state to align such like duties. You could see he was being told to step down, since he is no longer, he is nowadays toothless. He claimed that all the appointments were made by the president, of which that was a very, very huge allegation that he should really reconsider and drop that kind of allegation. Because we already know the appointees in the government. We knew before the handshake, the appointees in the government. We knew how the ethnic coalition had been skewed in the appointments. We are all aware about that. Every Kenyan knows what happened in the appointments. But he comes in the public forum, tells us that no, I've never appointed anyone in the government. That is a lie in front of Kenyans.
Let me ask you, Mr. Judge, without the handshake, what kind of Kenya could you be seeing right now as we speak?
Without the handshake?
Without the handshake in 2018?
We would have been a divided nation. We were going to have two nations. There was going to be the Republic of Kenya and the People's Republic of Kenya. So, you know, that was not going to benefit us per se, but it was anger that was going to be dividing a beautiful nation that we have known as Kenya. So, if you see someone who has always accused the others of going out and claiming that they need help from foreigners to come and help solve local problems, run away to go to the same colonialists to come and help him get into a position that he has looked at for 10 years, you know. You see the kind of hypocrisy. He's the same guy who said Mudavadi is a village elder. Wetangula is a village elder, and Uhuru is entertaining village and tribal heads, and now they are celebrating them and calling them national leaders.
On the same note, let me ask you this question. Now, when you see major proponents of BBI like Moses Wetangula and Musalia Mudavadi now ditching Raila and the handshake camp, that is of Raila and Uhuru, now joining joining Ruto's camp, don't we now, that doesn't give us maybe the thought that maybe the handshake has failed?
No, number one, I see selfishness and hypocrisy. Because if you believed, what changed? You see, even Ruto himself, when he was cornered to tell us what's wrong about BBI, do you remember the words that he was saying? He was saying it's not really bad. It was not, because he didn't stand to say no. He was saying, but we need to just change. It is a good thing. We need just to change some other thing. Which means BBI was the best thing that ever came, and they crashed it because it was not going to allow them to get into Kumi. Yeah.
Okay, so let me get, Maguta, I know you have maybe something to say.
Yes,
but
so maybe I can answer him very fast.
Okay.
I want to say that BBI, as I told you, it was the country was not ripe for BBI at this time.
Okay.
But it can come later. We can talk of more position later, more power later. BBI wasn't totally bad, but it was not good for the state of the country now.
Okay. We
cannot go and look for more position where we have a country that is ailing, in the economic side. People are sleeping hungry. People they are not paying rent. Let's talk to the lowest mwananchi. And they said that Ruto goes to a place and leaves people bitter. People are not bitter because of Ruto. People are bitter because of the economic state of the country. Let them talk straight to the point. Let them not say, let me tell you, before even you say Ruto is bitter, let me tell you the truth. How do you express something that you're being coerced to a certain corner? Ruto is just saying the truth. My responsibilities were taken and given to somebody else.
So according to you,
yes,
without the handshake,
yes,
where do you see Kenya right now?
Without the handshake, I see a different Kenya. I see a Kenya where the corruption was not on this level. I see a Kenya where simple people are not being beaten around like the border ones. Like you see, I see a Kenya where it could have been run smoothly. Not a country with hypocrites. Not a country that people come to the cameras, tell us something, and behind the cameras they do their different things. Not a country that has no opposition. Let me tell you, a country without an opposition wing, that is a failed country already. And that is why you can see what is happening. You can see decisions that are being made and the capacity of the highest level of the governance. You can see those decisions are really affecting the simple mwananchi. So the bitterness is not there. The bitterness is coming from the top. And this the top is who and who. It is Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Amolo Odinga. I'm just trying to answer this people. You are saying Ruto is bitter. Ruto is not bitter.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this.
Yes, that's it.
Who has actually gained from the handshake?
Yes, those exactly that I've gained from the handshake is the prior opposition leaders, that is the Right Honorable Raila Odinga and his team, the ODM and the NASA brigade that left, that are still there. You know them. I don't have to answer to
So
all of them.
Not the citizens of the
Not the citizen. How have the citizen gained when we are the citizens are being forced to vote for a BBI that only adds position, more power to individuals? Yes! We need to talk the truth.
Before we give Simba a chance,
yes,
I would like my friends in the Tanga team to know that Kenya doesn't have a constitution which says we have opposition and the government. We have minority and majority since 2010. I've heard even Ruto himself, who I think should be a master in politics and knowing what is happening in the government. So the fact that they keep telling us about opposition has failed. Where is opposition? Do you have a seat in the parliament which is called opposition?
Okay, Mr. Simba, I want you to cram this all, and of course, simply tell us, in the handshake anniversary, what is there for Kenyans to celebrate? And actually, is there anything that you look at it and say that I think this group of Kenyans have actually got a lot to gain from?
Just to begin from what my colleague is trying to appraise. This hustler narrative now is traumatizing the nation, because it's an idea being sold out, but the real ideology behind it is not existing. It's a bottom-up economic approach that can never be explained to the fellow hustlers. So this hustler narrative is a narrative that should completely be removed from the country, should be removed from our headlines, because it is already being sold negatively to our colleagues who are being marginalized, that they are not part and parcel of the government. Just to get back to your point now, the handshake has worked well. When a government comes in place, it doesn't have to avoid the running mates. And that is where the BBI was coming in, the Building Bridges initiative. But it is a win-win situation for the Kenyans. It is not a win-lose. And that is what has been recurring in the Kenyan politics and the Kenyan elections. That we see the opposition coming in place that, no, we lost everything. All the efforts that we made, we are now being ranked as losers. If you look at the manifesto, that's what the president also can still quote him, the manifesto of the opposition, and you also see the manifesto of the winning party, you realize that their manifesto was not completely bad off. The winning party's manifesto is also right, but they need to merge together after every election so that they can work together. But telling me that the opposition has failed, that because since it could not work with the government, the opposition should be working with the government, but correcting the government wherever it sees the government has made some few mistakes. For example, the border section. I would also love to touch on that, since he touched on it. I can also agree with him partly that the government has failed us. There are very, very, very sensitive institutions in the country right now that are already growing publicly in the public domain without clear structures, without clear regularities. So you see, in the border sector, there are people also who are right, but the section needed to be ironized so that we could know, are they operating in a formal way? But you can see now the government hurrying up. So Matiang'i making a very, very huge statement that now they'll be registered for free, they'll be doing that. That kind of fumbling is where the government has failed most of the institutions. And every time an institution fails, they always order for crackdown. Such a like character and such a like behaviors is what is portraying the government negatively. They should be finding out, no, we have a huge sector depending on the border. Like you saw in the publication in The Nation, the government gets 1 billion as revenue from the border sector. What if it gets ironed out, they get licensed, we can know, this is the border guy, this is not about, these ones are being used to frustrate Kenyans, these are burglars. So those kind of areas needs to be identified and ironed out for the prosperity of the nation.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for that. I want us to shift our focus actually to another conversation, and that is about coalitions. And first of all, the first question that I'd love to ask you, Mr. Maguta,
Yes.
in Kenya Kwanza,
Yes.
the deputy president has been away outside the country for quite a while.
Yes.
And of course, Wetangula and the team Wetangula has been leading the team for the campaigns. How do you look at maybe the campaigns without the deputy president? How can you rank them?
Yes, I want to say that you see, in the hustler nation, where my friend said that it should be done away, let me tell him that that is a narrative that is here to stay, because at the end of the day we are all hustlers. The narrative that is supposed to go away is dynasty and then the hustlers. But now you see, we are talking about hustlers. Let me talk about the coalition and the campaigns that have been going on. Right now, you've seen that Kenya Kwanza have been seen like a unification factor of the Kenyans that need to grow up economically, even in the health-wise. That is what that you saw Wetangula, Mudavadi doing campaigns here and there, and it was still hot. They could really pull crowds together, and they could really move at their ground.
Specific time,
now
the deputy president and Musalia Mudavadi were outside the country.
Yes.
Now, of course, he left his lieutenants, like now Moses Wetangula, to take the mantle of the campaign.
Yes.
How can you rate the campaign actually?
The campaign out of 10 was 7, and 7 is above average. Wetangula did good. Wetangula did good. In fact, it did perfectly well.
Did you see this coalition of Kenya Kwanza bearing fruit?
Yes, already it has bared fruits. You saw Davadi and Wetangula came in. And the most people that are going to reap from this coalition is not even the top characters, but the normal wananchi, the economy of the Kenya, the health sector of the Kenya.
Okay, I didn't
yes,
have to say
those are the guys that are going to benefit from it. By the way, I didn't answer him about the bottom up.
No, I don't know. We are not continue talking about the bottom up. Now, Judge Ndao, let me ask you this. Of course, we are in a seasons of coalitions, and I know in as much as you are in America, you're also following the politics of Kenya. I don't know quite how much the politics of Kenya are different from those of the world. Maybe you can tell us that, but of course, as you're telling us that also, you can talk about maybe the Azimio. We are having the Azimio rally tomorrow. What actually is expected from the Azimio rally?
Azimio rally is going to be the mega rally, which is going to define how now politics is going to be shaped in this country. Actually, it is the grand. You know, these other ones are just other rallies, but this is going to be the mother of all rallies, and you will see them endorse their leader, and then you will see other declarations made, and you see Azimio is the only formation where you don't ban your party. You come as you are. Let us negotiate, because we are supposed to look at ourselves not as enemies. We are brothers. If we differ in opinions or in some beliefs, we don't have to fight. We don't have to call people names. But this idea, abusive languages, if you see a politician using abusive languages, that is somebody whose head is loose with nuts. You know, the nuts in the head are loose, and he has just gone berserk. So we want some issue-based kind of politics, where when you bring an issue, people can discuss it. When bottom up came up, they were fighting the dynasties. They are saying that these people should be out of the country, and in fact it flared up some tempers in part of the country, mostly in Rift Valley, where they wanted to even ban other people's vehicles, because if you are driving, then you are a dynasty, and here we are borders. You see, there are some kind of utterances that if we really care about this country, there are some utterances that we should be very careful about, because when you do them, when it happens, other people will not sink alone. You also sink with them. You know, so when we are talking, let us talk as attracting our country from different directions.
Okay.
Then you will realize that Kenya is really good.
Okay, there's also a question that I asked you a bit earlier, that how do you see the politics of Kenya and even the whole world, the other parts of the world? I believe you've been outside the country, and maybe you've been looking at, you see politics, how it's done outside, and of course how it's done inside. Maybe you can just maybe tell us.
Yeah, I think we have different challenges.
Okay.
Because even if you look at US before Trump, okay, before Trump, US was issue-based, and people were being voted on what they stand for. But you see, Trump came and brought the kind of African politics in that place, so the comparison has gone down a little bit. But still, there are people. There is some honesty in politicking. But here, we are not honest. You know. I think at some point we need to have some way of eliminating people who should not be occupying public offices because of their previous records. If you look at the people who are vying for the top seats, for example, if you talk of the DP, the DP has been in politics since 1992. And if you look at where he has been standing and what he has been standing for, he has fought everything good that we have wanted to happen in this country.
Okay.
When we were fighting for multipartyism, he stood with the single party. That one wanted to demolish everybody and kept people in prisons for no reasons, you know. And after that, when we were bringing even the constitution, which now he wants to swear himself in to defend, he single-handedly led a team to oppose it to the wall. You know, this guy doesn't support anything good. He supports everything wrong from the beginning to the end. And yet, his propaganda has convinced some people who also think this is the formation where they belong in, because even for them, their lifestyles are just like that. They don't want anything good that will expose their corruption, that will expose their evil.
Maybe just one message, one question to my brother there.
Yes.
Was Ruto at the court where BBI was being nullified? I just want him to answer, because he said Ruto has been fighting things that are good to the country. But I want to ask him one question. BBI was passed from the county assembly to the national assembly, but when it reached the courts, it was nullified. Can we answer that if it was Ruto, then well and good, I will agree with you that Ruto has been fighting everything good. But if it wasn't Ruto, if it was the judges of the High Court, then my friend, we're just talking of allegation and propaganda. His allegations are not certain.
The BBI was not nullified.
Actually, gentlemen,
we still have a case on the BBI at the Supreme Court.
Actually, we are coming back to that, sir. I'm coming back actually to you. But again, we are going for another short break. We are coming back, gentlemen and ladies who are watching us. Of course, keep pace with us. At the inside 21144, that is our SMS line at GBS TV Africa at Eugene Ochieng Kwach. Thank you.
Happy International Women's Month!
Be sure to join us this coming Saturday at 7 p.m.
as we discuss matters about women and everything that concerns women, only on
The Youth Hub GBS TV.
Have you ever been to a market at the comfort of your living room? Well, worry no more, because we got you. GBS TV Home Shopping is that market for you at home. Purchase, place your order, and we deliver that item to you. Oh yes, you heard me right, absolutely. All you need to do is watch the show, place your order, and we'll definitely deliver that item to your doorstep. GBS TV Home Shopping is a show that will be coming to you from Mondays to Saturdays at 12:30 p.m., 2:30 p.m., 6:30 p.m., and 10:30 p.m. And of course, I'll be your host, J to the T. You can call me JT. Z. And this is GBS TV Home Shopping.
Stand by. into 3, 2, 1, action.
GBS Media Academy is offering free journalism classes for 3 months starting this Saturday, the 12th March at 2 p.m. The classes will include graphic design, script writing, sound and audio, lighting, camera operation, video switching, and film production. Certificates will be awarded at the end of the training. We are located along Pico Road behind Safari Park Hotel, 200 meters from USIU.
Get out.
You can register at weekendacademy.iyfkenya.org. For more information, contact us through 0742 529 011.
Welcome back. This is the Insight. Mr. Simba, the One Kenya Alliance has finally signed the coalition agreement after some back and forth within and outside the coalition. What next?
Okay, thank you so much. Just to iron out on to finalize on the BBI. The BBI is a trend that is still on the journey. It has not been halted. I think the case is at the Supreme Court, and it's going to come in a mega way. I've already seen the political tendency in the country. It's just a matter of time. The way Raila declared, God's time is the best. It will come at the right time after they have ironed out the few issues that they feel other leaders ought to have incorporated in. Back to the Oka coalition. Coalitions in Kenya nowadays, according to me, have started reading deceit, betrayal, and mistrust. We've seen that in the past. From the Moi era versus Raila. Coming right now, the right example is Uhuru Kenyatta and his colleague William Samoei Ruto. There have been a lot of betrayals wherever these coalitions are being done. That's why the OKA, their hearts and their minds and their ideologies are in Azimio, but they tend to be sluggish towards making that decision. We recently saw, they said it was a coincidence, Gideon Moi meeting with Raila. It was not a coincidence completely. He was going to back up Raila on that ground. But if you look at these OKA principles, Seras Jirongo, we come to Kalonzo Musyoka. Of course, we know that the core principle is Kalonzo Musyoka. He's the co-founder of the OKA. The Kalonzo Musyoka factor is now being viewed to be derailing the train of the Azimio. And why is he derailing all this? He finally told us that there are a lot of irregularities that needs to be put in place with their legal teams and the rest. And that is what has been telling us repetitionally. So what is his plans? The plan of OKA is to derail this process so that they can be in the market and they can have a bargaining power. And that is why I'm telling you that these coalitions, they are not taking us much far. After they have entered into power, the sitting president of the current regime will start seeing these other parties to be having self-interest on colliding with other having different agendas from the agendas they had. And that is when they'll start disagreeing. They'll start dismantling. There will be a lot of disagreements in the House because this party comes with these conditions. There are a lot of conditions that OKA have already put on the table for Azimio. And you know Azimio is already a coalition of pact. So we have 300 delegates tomorrow going to officially initiate Raila Amolo Odinga as the flag bearer. Already it is already done.
Nice. Quite much interesting. Actually, he has talked about so many things in the coalition. When he's now speaking about coalition, that which begs a lot of questions about coalitions. Whether coalitions are only trains or vehicles that take people to the elections, then that is the end of it. How is actually this even different? We're having coalitions that are shaping up towards 2022 for the 2022 political contest. How is this going to be different? Azimio and One Kenya Alliance, Kenya Kwanza. How are these coalitions different from the coalitions that we have had before? Or are they just a replica of what we had?
Like the Kenya Kusha is not a coalition. we call it Kenya Kwisha, because if you give them power, that is Kenya Kwisha. Like you give hyenas a chance to lead sheep. The hyenas will tear them down. So, but you see, these other coalitions, they will not be there after this.
Okay.
The only coalition that can stay longer is Azimio, because you see, KANU, let me say, because KANU is have already declared going to Azimio. So KANU, Jubilee, and ODM, when they come together, if you look at the principles in there, there is no way after this there are going to be a big struggle in who is going to be who.
Okay.
Because if you look from the Jubilee already, who is not going to antagonize anyone in there, so they will have to just find a way of getting somebody from that side of the divide to lead. Okay. And even in ODM, Raila is also on transit, you know, so he's also exiting the scene. So after that, you will see that the formation in there is going to be of too much dialogue. They are going to do a lot of dialogue so that they can get one person. But if for example, if the Kalonzo, what did we call it? Oka. If Oka gets past this, you see, all the principles are still standing tall and everyone wants to be who is who. So there are going to be a lot of war in there. And that is why even sometimes when we say that NASA was destroyed by Handshake, it's a lie, because NASA died when Raila was going to be sworn in. And even themselves, they said, because they were not there, they came back and said, in fact, Kalonzo, Mudavadi, and Wetangula are the chief guys who said it is dead and buried. So if they said it's dead and buried, who buried it? It's because they ran away. They feared the impact of the swearing in. So that is showing you also the extent of cowardice and also the selfishness that they have, that they can support you and tomorrow they are supporting what they didn't like.
Okay. Mr. Maguta.
Yes.
Maybe let me give you a chance to give a rejoinder, but on the same note, let me ask you, you're talking about, they've mentioned Kenya Kwanza there. For Kenya Kwanza, actually, we have had, in the past we have had coalitions. And so these coalitions have not made it to maybe next, to the subsequent general elections. We have had so many of them, even NASA currently and the Jubilee are dying actually at the verge of 2022 elections. You look at Kenya Kwanza, is it going to survive post-2022? And what actually strategies have you guys put to ensure that it survives post-2022?
Yes, as Kenya Kwanza, in fact, as the term itself explains itself, Kenya Kwanza. Kenya Kwanza is only about serving the Kenyans 2022. And that is the main reason that this team is going to proceed after the election, because they'll be busy serving Kenyans. And you see, as in Kenya Kwanza, they have aligned their position well. They know what they want. They have deputy president as their presidential flag bearer. And you've seen there have not been commotion in Kenya Kwanza. They have decided that this is what we are going to do as is Kenya Kwanza. Contrary to Azimio, you see in Azimio, Kalonzo is going in. Kalonzo is going, if at all he goes in to Azimio, but he was afraid to go in. That shows what? Mistrust in the Azimio coalition. He even told the president in Jubilee NDC that Mr. President, if at all you are going to this Azimio, please be the patron of Azimio. Why? Because he couldn't trust the other chief characters in Azimio. And then again, you see, tomorrow 300 delegates are going to endorse Raila Amolo Odinga as their presidential flag bearer. They have already forgotten that Kalonzo Musyoka is coming in and he wants to be the flag bearer.
In Azimio, it cannot survive. Even I even doubt if it can survive even to general election, because they don't. Everybody is fighting. They don't know what they really want. They don't know who is who. They are grabbing position by power. So tomorrow, 300 delegates. Listen. Okay. Tomorrow, 300 delegates are going to endorse Raila Amolo Odinga. They are forgetting that in this Azimio coalition we have Kalonzo Musyoka. They have not consulted Kalonzo Musyoka. They have not consulted Moses Kuria. They have not consulted Martha Karuya. Yes, but he's still in the Oka coalition. They have not consulted. Okay, let me talk about the Kalonzo Musyoka. They have not consulted Gideon Moi. They have not consulted that character there in Oka. So you see, the survival percentage of Azimio is almost 49% going down, even before we reach general election.
Allow me to correct him somewhere before you proceed.
As also answering that, let me ask you, he has talked about what now the Azimio team is doing, yet they have Kalonzo. And partly, of course, as you answer that, you also tell us, Kalonzo Musyoka is actually saying that actually in One Kenya lands they're asking for a deputy position, deputy leadership. Yeah. So in case we have the Azimio Oka coalition, then the deputy leader should come from who? The deputy president should come from the other side, that is Oka. But of course, we are already seeing Azimio moving. It's already moving. How is this going to happen, since we know that, and actually it's very clear and evident that the position of the vice is for the mountain.
Yeah. Yes, very good. You've already answered the question. That's what I was heading to. Yes. Just to answer him, these coalition pacts, they are already still independent. Oka is an independent pact of political parties, just like Azimio. So Raila is being endorsed by the political parties that have already endorsed him at the grassroots stages. Very quick back to the Kalonzo factor. I told you that these political parties and the coalitions, they don't necessarily come targeting flag bearings. They are those pacts that are there to do what is called speculations. They are speculating on which weight the basket is going to fall. And that is where they would love to put their bet on. Politics, like I told you, is an arena where dirt and sweat is always there. And that's why Raila, people have seen a SWAT, and his hands are already dirty, so they feel that empathy that he should be voted in as the Azimio flag bearer. So they've already handed over the ticket to him, unlike other parties, because he has already fought hard enough for the Azimio ticket. Back to Oka. Oka is still on speculative. You see, wherever these other parties have made a decision, we are running, we are already in the Azimio. They are dragged behind. They are still weighing their bargains. They are still weighing their options. I told you this is just like a flower girl who is still weighing her, who still wants to be admired so that our bride price can go high. And that is where now we are heading to a very, very wrong, streamlined election processes, where parties come with self-interests. They all come with their own interest and with their own conditions. So they are dragging other parties behind. Azimio train has already left. The UDA is already struck. They are all, the UDA and Azimio are all trying to compare their statistics. Where are we going to fall our bet on the deputy president? They are watching the other party. Have they made a decision? Not yet. This other party is also watching this other party, because the Mount Kenya in question is already an interest in this matter. Every party is targeting to weigh its bet on the Mount Kenya. And that's why Kalonzo came up with the 2007 election rules or agreements that are done with Raila Amolo, and they couldn't agree because things have changed, time has changed, things had flown, and now they are all speculating who the Mount Kenya, who the next deputy president is going to come from the Mount Kenya. And the Mount Kenya has not built its stability on a leader who can easily be endorsed, who has already fought for the nation, who has shown that he has really fought and deserves to be the deputy president. So they are all on the speculations. Yes.
George, let me ask you this. This election is quite, I don't know whether to call it historic, but it comes at a time that we are having a president who is leaving the office at a very young age compared to the other presidents that we have had before. The first one died in office, the second one, Moi, died, left office actually, sorry, quite old. We had Moi Kibaki, who left the office very old. Moi Kibaki the same. We are having Uhuru, who is quite young. What is going to be his role in, or even after the 9th August general election? Because we have had conversations that Uhuru is still young and cannot retire.
I've had people say that Uhuru should just go. They don't need him anymore because they don't even want to answer him when he speaks because he's leaving the office and he should retire to go do some other business. You see, former presidents everywhere play major roles in every country. If we have a young one like Uhuru, you know, Uhuru right now can handle a lot of things, especially when he's out of office. His head will be very sober. He's a player who has been in the field. In football, you find that players play and then when they retire, they become coaches of teams. Uhuru is going to be a major brain that is going to be instrumental in Kenyan politics. Anyone who is wishing him away right now is just an ostrich whose head is right in the sand. But we need such, even after Raila, we are going to experience that again because the next one will not be retiring old. The next one, so from there, every 1 or 2 terms, we will be having young presidents. Those are the people who will be consulted. Actually, there will be even a need for them to open offices of consultancy.
Why would you say that after Raila we will only be having young presidents?
Yeah, there won't be another old guy who is going to vie. Because look at the terrain.
If Raila takes the office for 10 years, maybe it will be 70 years and
Ruto will never be a president.
Let me tell you. Okay, that is where I got it. Now, when you say that there will be only young president, you want to take the right of a 70-year-old person or 65, because I don't know when you mean young is how old, but you want to take the right of a 60-year-old person vying for presidency. When you say that there will be no any young person, and let me tell you, how sure are you and certain are you that if Ruto or Raila will be the president of Kenya? Let's converse this way. At the text of who is the best for presidency now, because nobody can assign. I cannot be a prophet because I'm not, but let not ascertain that this person will be the president, the other one will be, but we are talking of possibilities. And when it comes to possibilities, I am telling you that we have a difference between now our old presidential aspirant and a young presidential aspirant. That is Raila Amolo Odinga and Ruto. And the possibilities here are that the young presidential candidate is going to emerge the winner. But I would want to say this, that every election season will only have a young presidential candidate winning. We can even have a 35 and a 30 next time, and we have a 35 winning. So please, let us not go that way.
It has been quoted that severally. I tend to read malice. Allow me to disagree on this. I tend to read malice on President Uhuru Kenyatta's support on Raila Amolo Odinga. And I heard Mudavadi speaking that is going to be used as a puppet, who will be used to control the State House thereafter. We saw that in the Kibaki succession. To bring this narrative on board, when we see Uhuru Kenyatta and from his home background, you'll hear his people telling him, bado ni mdogo, anaenda wapi, bado ni mdogo, anaenda wapi. And that is why I was telling you the last time that Uhuru Kenyatta might sell Raila negatively. Because he's already being seen to be having interest in the next succession. He's already being viewed to be having interest in the next government. Why am I saying this? And that is why the BBI had a lot of struggles. It was being seen that there's some position being lifted up. We all know that. The prime ministry position. And I'm sure and I'm aware I can say without any contradiction that after the government is going to be formed, And we are aware of the current systems in the government situation. We already know who the president is likely to be. It might be taken out of context, but that is the fact. I'm sure the President Uhuru Kenyatta is still coming back to be a powerful political leader in our society. And that is a fact that should be taken back to the bank. Should be deposited, in fact.
And that is, you see, that is very wrong. Even he talked about football, where players come back to be coaches. But I want to talk about athletics. The world fastest person on 100 meters was called who? Was the guy from Jamaica. What was his name? Usain Bolt. He retired, but he wasn't old.
I want us actually to shift to another conversation, also part of this conversation that we are having tonight, and this is about the IBC's new appointment. Of course, IBC has appointed Michael Oum as ICT Director. We have Crispin Otieno as Legal Director and Ruth Kolondu as Deputy Commission Secretary for Operations. I don't know, maybe let me get your takes maybe on this. You've actually, your deputy.
Yes, I want to ask you a question.
Yes.
How many tribes are we in Kenya? If you can ask that.
You tell me, around 45.
Yes, thank you very much. So I don't see a reason why a big institution, a very sensitive institution, can have more than 3 same ethnic group people leading. But anyway, I want to say this. I don't know who appointed them. Since Chebukati has not complained, because he's the head of that institution, I just want to say this. I still trust in Chebukati's leadership, because when he was coerced to work with the MPS, with the ESCC, he refused. He stated that IBC is independent. So thank you. We can still go forward with that. There's no problem.
So what I think is, number one, I want to react on something that we have left but briefly. I would like it to be entrenched in the Constitution that when you are retiring as a president, you should not have any side in politics. But since it's still not there, the president has a constitutional right as a Kenyan to campaign even officially to anybody of his choice. And it doesn't matter where that person comes from, as long as that person is a Kenyan. That should be put in records. Now going to IEBC.
Yes.
IEBC was ridiculed even after giving Ruto a deputy presidency, and by then we know the number of commissioners that were there, and right now they already said that Oburu, even if they put Oburu Odinga on there, they are winning flat. If you know you are winning, why do you campaign with a lot of money giving to everybody everywhere? So what I'm saying about the appointment, that's a good development, because number one, it is bringing the figures that are required to be in full. But this idea of looking some people, and this is where we go wrong time and again. Why do our eyes so sharp in looking at the second names of people? Because our minds are corrupt.
Because we are 42, because we are all 45 in this country.
Actually, I disagree with my question. But let me now ask you a question. We have Hussein Majan Hussein, who has been appointed the new CEO of IBC. Actually, historically, we look at it, the predecessors left the offices at anniversary towers prematurely. We start with James Oswago, who was a retired major by that time. James Oswago actually left the IBC in disgrace under a cloud of controversy of the Chicken Gate scandal, where of course we had there are some allegations, and this matter is still in court of maybe him receiving some bribes. He was involved in it over printing ballot papers tender. We also have Ezra Chiloba, who succeeded him. Ezra Chiloba, who also saw the 2017 nullified presidential general elections. Now we have Majan Hussein Majan. Do you think that Majan Hussein Majan has got everything to beat all of them, or do you think that the fate is still the same for him?
Thank you so much. Just first to get back to the point of my colleague here.
Yes.
The appointments, I think, have been fair on my side. We cannot say that they were ethnic-based or biased. They have been fair because they followed the due process before the appointments were done, and they are already qualified. So let us not try to put that or skew it towards one ethnic base. Speaking about this seat, this seat has already been politicized, and that is the question we are having in Kenya. The IBC is an institution that is already being viewed in a public platform to be politicized and politically influenced. How can we change that narrative? It's been a very big challenge that this position, wherever we are having CEOs, they are having high temperatures wherever elections are being conducted. They get out of context. Wherever they are asked questions, you'll find them very relevant on their findings. So we try to question, how did they find themselves in these positions? We tend to ask, are they going to bring a difference on those particular platforms, or there are other external forces that is going to influence the outcome of this particular election? Can they stand solid on their ground and say, no, we've read malpractice in this and that and that. No, we need to iron this, that and that in the IT system. No, we need to touch in this organization. No, the elections in Omabia are not being conducted properly. Can they stand on the ground and tell Kenyans the truth? Unlike the last election that we had, that Kenyans are still raising eyebrows about the cleanliness of this institution. That is what I can say at the moment.
Now, actually, thank you so much, gentlemen. We are coming to the end of this conversation. I wish we had more time, but of course, time has cut us short. Now, I want us to give our parting shots. I'll start with you, Mr. Dennis Maguta. Your parting shot, maybe of all the issues that we've been discussing generally, and maybe to your people, those who are listening to you.
Yes, thank you very much for having us here. And I almost forgot that to tell Eugene Kwach that he has a nice suit. So congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
And then as the politics goes on, I just want Kenyans to remember this, that politics will come and go. Your neighbor will remain your neighbor. Your work will remain your work. Me and you, I am Maguta, your Kwach, will still need to have each other for survival purposes. Let's have peace as the first thing in our minds, even as we head towards the general election. And when we come down, after we have peace, we need to have a peace in the economy. Remember to vote for the people or the coalition that have been talking about your problems, that have been talking how to solve your problems, either in health, either in security, either in economy and stuff. And you've seen that mostly being talked in Kenya Kwanza. Make sure to make the right decision, and the right decision is solving the economy first, and the economy from top up. That is
bottom up.
Bottom up. No, down up. No, top up. Yes, now I see I've got your attention. So from bottom up. That is the only way we are going to safeguard the future of our children, the future of the economy of this Kenya. And lastly, I want to say thank you so much. Our people of Kasarani, you have Dennis Maguta, and it's going to be nice.
Your bad judge now is speaking after you. But Judge now, you are
number one, I'm really happy that Kenya Kusha is going to an end. They are doing their last leg, because after the elections, they are going to be scrambled all over. They won't be anywhere. This time round, I want Kenyans, please just vote. Even though you feel so displaced by the arguments and the anger that one side of the divide is pulling on the others, please just go and vote. Because if you don't vote and let it go like that, that person that you don't want will occupy the office, and politics affect lives of everybody alike.
Thank you so much, Mr. George. Now we are going to Mr. Simba Marara.
Thank you so much. This is Simba Marara, MCA incoming Komarok Ward. I would like to send a message to my Komarok people. I would like to send a message to my Komarok people and to the whole nation that this is a moment that you need to know that you've been having your neighbor. Your neighbor is your neighbor, irregardless of which political party belongs, irregardless of the ideologies that is having at hand. You will still need him. During these political temperatures, we politicians will come on the arena with the different propagandas, with the different ideologies. Kindly listen to us. Wherever a politician comes with an incitement, do not take that incitement positively. Tell them to go back. We are now in a new formed economy. Let us not destroy our economy. We've known what has happened recently in the previous elections. Let us stand on our feet. We as the Kenyans, we are the ones who can change the nation and not the politicians, not those ones in the government. We can make a change. We can elect the leaders who can change our nation drastically. Lastly, to the government institutions or to the government, I would kindly heed that let this not be a repetition of what we just saw. There are a lot of institutions that have not been aligned, that have not been formally structured. I'll give you a recent example of the border massacre that happened. Rushing to conclusions and ironing out these issues at the last minute brings a lot of confusion in the country. We have a lot of complaints. The sector has already been destroyed. We've seen a lot of demonstrations all over the nation, distracting businesses, distracting our ways out. Can't the government come up with platforms and identify different institutions and formalize them so that we can avoid this kind of acts where the government, people will tend to feel that the government is not part and parcel of them. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Mr. Maguta in the house, of course, a governance expert and, of course, an aspiring member of parliament, Kasarani constituency. We have Mr. George Ndawa. He is an active citizen. Mr. George Ndawa is with us from America after a long time. Of course, he was here. He's a Kenyan and an active citizen. We have, of course, Mr. Simba Marara Walter, who has also been here leading us, of course, guiding us, of course, we conversing in a conversation. The conversation has been great, and of course, thank you so much, gentlemen, for accepting my invite once again.
Thank you.
Those who are watching and those who have kept pace with the topic and, of course, listening to us as we delve deeply into these matters and issues in politics deliberately for you to get to understand through the eyes of various stakeholders who we have brought here today. We want to wish you, and again on behalf of everyone who has made this a success, a good night. See you next Friday, of course, 8 p.m. to 9:30, where we have the insight. Good night.